What's going on, YouTube? This is Austin with the Sports Stage. I'm your host today. Guys, we are doing a live best ball draft. We're doing it on Draftkings. We actually got the draft starting here in about 8 seconds. I just wanted to kind of pull you guys in and watch this live best ball draft with me. So there's a lot of guys doing best ball drafts right now. I love the summertime doing these best ball drafts, getting them done now, and then I can kind of see where guys land and what their ADP is and such ahead of regular fantasy football season time. I can get in on these best ball drafts and see and maybe do like 20 of them throughout the summer. And then when I go into my redraft league in August, usually like end of preseason, we do our drafts. And I'm in 7 leagues. That's about when I do mine. Then I kind of have a feel for where dudes are falling. And it'll give me a better opportunity to know who to take, when to take them, and what the strategy is going into it. So this one's on DraftKings, like I said. I didn't score a very good pick here. You can see I'm pick 11. Let me rephrase that. For most people, I didn't score a very good pick here at pick 11. I actually don't mind picking at the back of the first round. It'll give me an opportunity to go almost back to back, right? I'll have a pick, and then I'll skip 2, and then I'll have another one. But I'll be able to go bam, bam. I don't have to wait and try to plan too much out. I'm hoping I can get. Oh, never mind. There goes Bijan. I was gonna say I'm hoping I can somehow get Bijan down here at pick 11, because in my humble opinion, I think Bijan should and could be RB1 this football season in fantasy. Just with Zach Robinson at now as his offensive coordinator, I think Bijan is going to have a huge year. I don't know if you guys saw his interview today, but he was talking about how he's about to be utilized like Christian McCaffrey is utilized, which means he's going to get a lot of touches and he's going to get a lot of catches. I mean, and that's obviously just a projection from him himself, but he's the one that's in there every day. He's the one going through these OTAs that's seeing how the system is unfolding and how they're actually utilizing him so far. So hopefully he's right. Bijan's my dude this year. We got this blue moon guy coming up. All right, he picked Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm on the clock. I've got 26 seconds. Looking at what we got here, guys, we have A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor. Now, I can go back-to-back here pretty much. I'm going to take a receiver. I do like the A.J. Brown pick. I do like the Garrett Wilson pick. How many seconds do I have? I'm talking too much. I'm actually going to go with Garrett Wilson. 1, because Garrett Wilson's just a dude. We all know that, right? And 2, I really think Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and be Aaron Rodgers again. I don't think he's going to come back and struggle too much. Yes, he's old. Yes, he tore his Achilles, but at the quarterback position, it's not like if a 38-year-old receiver tore their Achilles. He's playing quarterback. Excuse me if I clear my throat a few times. I do have crazy allergies right now where I live, so I apologize for that. I can't really pause it too much for you guys when I'm clearing my throat. So now looking at what we got here, we got Barkley. I'm not huge on him just because of his injury history. I was going to go Jonathan Taylor there, actually. But he went. Now we got Sam Laporta, Saquon Barkley, Travis Kelce, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, Josh Allen. Looking at these guys, I do like all these guys. I don't know if I'm ready to take a tight end, even though it's the best 2 on the board. So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley because we all know who Saquon Barkley is. And when he's healthy, he is a top 5 back in the NFL. When he's healthy, hopefully I didn't just screw myself there and get a guy that's going to be injured again. But based on how he plays, man, he's just a freaking stud. And if he's healthy, it's a great pick. But there's the if he's healthy part. But that kind of goes for everybody in football, right? You never know when someone's going to get hurt. There are guys who are a little more risky, such as Saquon. I'll tell you, there's too many different things scrolling here. Sorry if I'm bouncing around. I'll tell you what, guys. One of my favorite players in fantasy drafts this year is this guy right here, Drake London. You guys know he got Kirk Cousins. I know that's 2 Falcons players I just said, but the Falcons are loaded with talent. Bijan was supposed to be a top running back last year. Arthur Smith was allergic to handing him the football for one reason or another. But Drake London, he gets a ton of target share. even in his first 2 years, he didn't have that breakout, oh my God, fantasy football season, but he gets a lot of their target share, which wasn't much considering Atlanta's offense. For some reason, it seems like Jonnu Smith got just as many targets as anybody in that offense, and he was maybe their 6th best player. So now if you guys look, I got Saquon, I got Garrett Wilson. So I got a running back, I've got a receiver. I do like to tier my players. I don't have my tiers pulled up right now. I wasn't expecting this draft to be ready until tomorrow. I was like the second person in it, and it said we're going to draft as soon as the league fills. It filled way faster than I thought, so I didn't have my tiers up and ready, but I like to tier my guys so I know am I getting a top tier running back? Am I getting a top tier receiver? Am I getting a top tier quarterback? If you tier your players, I'm going to be putting out videos all summer on my tiers. So subscribe to the page, Instagram and TikTok as well, guys. There will be a link in the bio at the bottom of this video. I will give you guys my tiers, and if you can figure out what your tiers are and then try to get a guy in, make sure your best running back is in that top tier or the highest tier possible. Your best receiver is in that top tier. Draft with the tier strategy, and you're going to have guys that are going to produce rather than trying to just go off of ADP. Now, I do love ADP as well. There's a reason that most people draft on the ADP strategy, but kind of use them together, like use them cohesively and mesh them together, because if you do that, you're going to have top tier guys throughout your lineup rather than maybe 2 top tier running backs and like a C tier receiver or a B tier receiver. If you can get, like, obviously the S tiers are all going to be gone in the first round, but if you can get like a tier A of each quarterback, running back, receiver, and maybe tight end, you're going to be looking pretty. Man, these guys are slow. I guess not. We only got 30 seconds to pick. I can't complain too much. So we're going 20 rounds here, if you guys can see right here. This is round 3 of 20. We got some quarterbacks coming off the board now. Hurts, Mahomes, Jackson, they're the top 3 right here on the ADP. Trey McBride is another guy that I love, especially if you're talking dynasty formats. This is best ball, so I'm going to try to keep most of the conversation to best ball and redraft. But if you're talking dynasty fantasy football, Trey McBride is your guy. He's a young tight end he kind of came on the scene last year and had a bit of a breakout year. He's going to have Kyler Murray for a full season, and when Kyler Murray came back, that's when McBride really excelled. So he's another one that I really like. Cooper Kupp, I'm not so high on this year, kind of down on him, not because of his talent and his ability. He runs maybe the best routes in the NFL. He is the most cerebral receiver in the NFL. The dude knows coverages like that. Instantly can pick apart a coverage. So, I mean, Cooper Kupp is a good pick. Just with his age, we never know. That's the risky thing about fantasy football. When guys get older, it's so hard to predict when they're going to hit that peak and just start declining. And it can be a fast decline. I mean, you guys saw with even quarterbacks like Peyton Manning. Dude was up here, led the best offense in NFL history in 2013, and then 2015 looked like an average guy. So now I'm back up on the clock, guys. I'm about to go almost back to back here, and if you could see, there's 2 good tight ends here, 2 good quarterbacks here. I don't think this next guy is going to take quarterback back to back, but I do want Trey McBride. There's also CJ Stroud down here, so I'm going to go with Trey McBride because if I miss out on these 2 guys, I still got CJ Stroud, and I like McBride slightly better than Kincaid just because what? Oh, it auto-picked me. I talk too much. Gosh dang it. Hopefully he doesn't take McBride. I like Trey McBride slightly better just because Kincaid is not the only tight end there. Dawson Knox is going to be cutting into his targets. As far as middle of the field, intermediate route type stuff, getting into the flats, Kincaid isn't going to get all of those targets. Dawson Knox is there. Trey McBride is the receiving threat in Arizona, so he's going to get all those tight end type looks. All right, I'm back on the clock, and I did still get Trey McBride. That's awesome for me. So let's go look at my team, guys. I didn't really want Jalen Hurts. I started talking to you guys too much about the actual picks and forgot I screwed that one up. Don't do that. Don't do what I just did. When you're on the clock, be on the clock and be locked in. I'm trying to make this video for you guys and talk about these picks, so I kind of lost my train of thought there and went a little over on the clock. So I got Hurts and I got Barkley. I mean, they're both on the same team. Yes, sometimes that is a good thing. Like if you get Hurts and A.J. Brown and Hurts throws a touchdown to A.J. Brown, obviously you get double the points. Saquon is a good receiving back, so maybe we'll get some double points there with Hurts and Barkley. But nonetheless, if the Eagles are inside the 10-yard line, chances are high that I'm getting those points, whether it's Barkley or it's Hurts running the tush push. I know they're changing the rule, but I'm sure the Eagles are going to find a way to kind of manipulate that and still make that effective. When you have a quarterback that squats as much as Jalen Hurts, you got to use that strength to your advantage. Now, looking at the board right now, I got a ways until I pick, so we can start talking about some of these guys. DJ Moore just went off the board. He is a guy that I am steering clear of this year. I know he had a breakout year. He had his career year, the best year of his career so far last year, which is awesome, but he was the only guy there last year. I mean, he was competing for targets with Darnell Mooney and Tyler Scott. Now he's competing for targets with Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. Cole Kmet is still there. I think Cole Kmet might have a better year this year than he has in the past because the guy's talented, but he didn't really have anybody to take away the attention from him. Now that there's 3 unbelievable targets on the outside, I don't like Keenan Allen, but the guy's good. I'm not saying I don't like him because he's not a good football player. I just don't like his attitude. But he's a hell of a football player. Also a great route runner. Him and Cooper Kupp both. So I do think Cole Kmet will have a better year. Obviously not a top tier tight end, but I think he's going to benefit from the guys that are around him at least. And then their running back room is just stacked. I mean, DeAndre Swift. Why am I drawing a blank? Khalil Herbert, I don't think he'll play as much this year. Roschon Johnson could be a sleeper in fantasy leagues. I know DeAndre Swift is going to get the touches and going to get the receiving touches, but don't forget Roschon Johnson can also catch balls out of the backfield. He is also a power back, which is surprising because Roschon Johnson was actually a quarterback. If you guys didn't know that, he was a 4-star quarterback coming out of high school at Texas. He got there, and Sam Ehlinger was the dude, and Roschon wasn't going to play. He kind of saw the writing on the wall. So he said, where can I get on the field? And he got moved to running back and actually really excelled. He would have been a starter, but obviously he was behind Bijan, and nobody's going to start over Bijan. He was the best running back in the country. All right, Kyle Pitts just went off the board. Another Atlanta guy that I think could have a breakout year. Atlanta's offense really could light up the scoreboard. I don't know if Atlanta is going to be the Super Bowl contender everybody thinks they are, but I do think they're a playoff team. They will win the NFC South, and they will put up points. So for fantasy purposes, Atlanta is a team to watch out for. Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier even. Not obviously don't take him as your RB1, but take him late. If you have Bijan, definitely take Tyler Algier when you can so that you have the backup just in case there's an injury. All right, we're coming back up on the clock here soon. So this is what we're looking with. We got a quarterback, we got a running back, we got a top-tier receiver, we got a top-tier tight end, top-tier running back. I'd say an A-tier quarterback. We are on the clock now. I'm not going to waste too much time this time. Look at what we're looking at. Amari Cooper, he is the number 1 there. I know he's getting older, but I am going to go with him just because I think Deshaun Watson still has juice left in that tank. I don't think he's as bad as he's played recently. I think he could have another big year and get back to Texans form. Maybe not quite Texans form, but he could get back to somewhere near that area. Now we're looking at running backs, guys, and all the top tier guys are gone. So here's where I'm talking about the tier strategy. We got receivers, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen. I'm not big on Kirk. I think he's probably going to be their number 2. Brian Thomas could come in and be their number 1 guy and demand that many targets. But as far as tiers go, look at all these good quarterbacks still left. Look at the tight ends. Look at the receivers. I do like the receivers right now. So instead of wasting it and on a bad running back, we're going to actually take a receiver, and I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. I told you guys DJ Moore I'm not super high on. Nobody knows who's going to be that dude in Chicago right now. Who's going to pop and be their number one guy? It's hard to take a Chicago receiver because we don't know where the target share is going to be. But we're here sitting in, that was the beginning of the 6th round, and Keenan Allen's there. So I'm okay with taking Keenan Allen at this point. I'm not taking DJ Moore and Keenan Allen in the 2nd, 3rd round. I think DJ Moore went, was it the 3rd or was it the 2nd? I don't remember. Here's one that's creeping up the boards now. I probably won't have a shot at him. Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, both of those guys. Kansas City doesn't have a clear-cut number one right now. I know it's Rashee Rice as far as last year goes, but nobody knows what his suspension is going to look like. So that's an extremely, extremely dangerous pick right now. As we get closer to the regular season, August, September, hopefully there's going to be some type of, suspension or discipline that's put down on him, and it's clear-cut. I mean, if it's a 4-game suspension, yeah, I could still take Rashee Rice. Not early rounds, obviously, but he'd be a good pick if he's coming back to play, 13 games. But if we don't know what his suspension is going to look like, I wouldn't take him. I mean, there's a chance he could be suspended for a full season. I mean, Calvin Ridley got a full season for gambling. Rashee Rice almost killed people and assaulted somebody. So we don't know what's going to happen with Rashee. I'm not getting very close. I still got a whole round and 4 picks. Terry McLaurin. Every year I look at Terry McLaurin, and for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he went to Ohio State, and I hate Ohio State. I'm not a Michigan fan, but I hate Ohio State. Maybe it's because of that, but every year I look at him, and I try to find a reason not to like the guy, but he just goes out and puts up 1,000-yard seasons. He's a consistent 12 to 16, 17 point a game kind of guy. He usually doesn't go for 30 plus. Like, he doesn't have those big Jamar Chase 50-point games, but he's a consistent double-digit guy that is actually good on your team. Keon Coleman, I'm not touching him. I don't care if it's the 1st round. Probably not touching Keon until maybe 10 on down. I just don't. If you guys follow me on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, you guys saw my video on Keon Coleman. I am a football coach. I don't know if you guys know that. I coach wide receivers. I played wide receiver through college. Breaking down his tape, there is a lot of bad in his game. Freak athlete, incredible athlete, and if he can be coached to do to work with technique and actually implement it and apply it to the field, he could be unbelievable. But so much wrong with his technique and his attention to detail and how he plays the game. He basically just relies on his athleticism, and that's not going to cut it in the NFL. Come on. My mouse is wigging out on me, sorry. Christian Watson's another one. Yes, there's injury concerns. I am curious, though, to see how he holds up this season, because he did some experimental hamstring treatment this year. It was actually a grant by the NFL worth $4 million for this experimental hamstring treatment, and they found that he had imbalances in his hamstring strength from leg to leg. So his left hamstring was actually 20% stronger than his right hamstring. So the right one was trying to overcompensate for that left one, hence why he keeps pulling that right hamstring. So he's been doing this experimental treatment and testing on that, trying to get that percentage minimized. And he said his goal was 6% asymmetry between hamstrings. But, I mean, because you can't get perfectly symmetrical. It's impossible. But if you can get within 6%, that could help him out a lot. He could stay healthy, and if he does stay healthy, we've seen what he can do on the field. We've seen what Jordan Love can do on the field now. Christian Watson's a great pick, but I'm going to start looking at running backs as I get closer to the clock, closer to being on the clock here. You guys see all I have is Saquon Barkley there. And like I said, no top-tier guys left. There are some guys I do like. Jonathan Brooks, I love that pick, but he had the late ACL tear. We don't know if he's going to be cleared. He's supposed to be cleared week 1 and ready to go at the start of the season, but we just don't know at this point. That's the one bad thing about doing these best ball drafts early, is you don't know the status of some of these guys. But if Jonathan Brooks is a go, as you get closer to August and September, definitely take Jonathan Brooks. He will be the RB1 in Carolina. Stevenson, not really huge on Ramondre. James Conner's one I do like. He had a career year last year. Zach Moss in Cincinnati, he's going to be the starter. He's the RB1. Najee Harris kind of had a down year last year, but stats were there, just not the touchdowns. This year, I think he will have a better year, but he's splitting time with Jaylen Warren. I'm going to go with James Conner here, just because of that year he had last year. He does have Trey Benson to compete with now in that backfield, but Conner is the guy. He gets those goal line carries. We saw it last year. He will have a little bit of a split this year because of Trey Benson, but I think, again, injury concerns. I think this year is still James Conner's show. Next year, though, Trey Benson all the way. If you have dynasty leagues right now, take Trey Benson, because I think he'll get some time this year and he'll be a decent bye week type of guy to fill in. But next year, that's when I'm big on Trey Benson. We'll see what happens with James Conner this year, but next year for sure, Trey Benson's my dude. All right, now we've got Stevenson, Harris, Chubb, Brooks, Warren are the top guys on this ADP here, the rankings on Draftkings. If you look over here at my squad so far, we got Hurts, Barkley, Connor, Wilson, Cooper, Keenan Allen, and Trey McBride. And, oh my gosh, I started talking too much again, and I didn't realize I was on the clock. Guys, this is not going so well for me. I got to stop chit-chatting so much and actually draft. They just auto-picked Ramondre Stevenson for me. Not a bad pick. Like I said, I'm not high on Ramondre. I don't think he's a super great running back. But nonetheless, he is an RB1 in New England. So he will get a lot of touches. He will get the opportunities to put up points. So let's go to all over here and see what the big board says on all. And again, remember, guys, this is best ball. So whoever scores the most points, that's who you're going to get. It's not a... those are the points you're going to get. It's not a they have to be in your starting lineup for you to get those points. Whoever gets the most points, that's who is going to count towards your score. That's one thing I like about best ball. But it's also one thing I don't necessarily like. I play both. I get a little bit of best ball, and I like this style, but I also still appreciate and respect and love the old school fantasy football style where you have to be strategic with who you start and who you sit. Just so you guys know, once football season rolls around, I will have a Stardom Situm subscription on my Winnable page. It's going to be, I believe, I set it at $10 a month. I probably am going to keep it at $10 a month. I don't see a reason to raise it. I'm just going to be giving everybody my start-sit recommendations each week in fantasy football. It doesn't mean it's going to be all quarterbacks, all running backs, just my start-sit recommendations. All right, Chubb, Adunze, sorry. Pollard, I'm not huge on him this year. I mean, he's a good running back. He did great in Dallas, but I'm bigger on Tyjae Spears than I am Tony Pollard. That's just me. This right here, what are we? We are in round 9 right now. Brian Thomas Jr. is still there. I'm going to star him so I don't forget and accidentally mess that up again. Like I told you guys earlier in this draft, I believe Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be the wide receiver 1 at the end of the year in Jacksonville. So I doubt he's going to make it to me. I got 6 picks left ahead of me. He's 4th on this chart right here. Hopefully these guys will be dumb and not take him. But if he may, oh yeah, there goes JSN. So they're not jumping on Brian Thomas Jr. Hopefully, if he gets to me, I'm taking Brian Thomas Jr. Hands down. JSN's another one. Could have a good sophomore season. He does have DK, obviously, still competing with targets there. Not a great quarterback in Geno Smith. Not the worst quarterback, but he's nothing special. He's not going to change a game. He's just going to manage a game, try to not turn the ball over, and that's why he's still the starter in Seattle. He's not a guy that's going to lose you games, but he's not really necessarily going out there and winning you games. Come on, Kevin Hoy. Who you taking? Don't take BTJ. If I don't get Brian Thomas here, and I am going 2 picks almost back-to-back. If I don't take Brian Thomas Jr. here, I am going to go with TJ Hawkinson, get me a second tight end. And then beyond that, Herbert's my next guy. Caleb Williams, I mean, he's Caleb Williams, right? Best prospect since Andrew Luck. But him being a rookie, it's risky. There we go. He's still on the board. I'm taking Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not going to miss my pick now. I'm not going to start chatting too much and forget that I'm on the clock. So here we have a decision to make, right? We got quarterback, Justin Herbert. We got Hawkinson. Let's look at this. If you're talking about tiers here, Hawkinson is better than all of these guys down here. He's a tier above them. Quarterback, we've got a lot of guys that are probably in the same tier here. Daniels could be a great fantasy quarterback. He could be terrible. He's a rookie. We don't know. If he plays like he did in college, obviously that's a great fantasy pick. But that's the one thing about rookies, we just don't know. Herbert, right? So if I'm looking at these quarterbacks, these are riskier picks. Oh, there goes Caleb. But Herbert, Lawrence, Cousins, Stafford, those are all kind of around the same to me. Hawkinson is far and above the rest of these guys right here just because of that offense. However, J.J. McCarthy is who's throwing to him this year. We don't know how McCarthy is going to be. Another rookie kind of question mark. But in that system, I'm looking at the system there, not the player on this one. Look at how Joshua Dobbs played last year in that system. If McCarthy doesn't succeed, he's absolute trash. I don't think he's a first-round quarterback. Just going to put that out there. I think he's a second-round talent, maybe a third-round talent. I think he got a little overhyped when he won a Natty, overhyped when Jim Harbaugh was talking about him. I think from what I've seen, at least, obviously I don't know the guy. From what I've seen, he seems like an incredible kid, an incredible human being, so I hope him the best. But just his talent alone, I don't think he was a first-rounder. But in that system, I think he had the best landing spot out of any quarterback in the draft. Bo Nix is another one. I think his landing spot was great. Don't think he's an exceptional talent, but he lands there with Sean Payton, and that system fits him very well. So Nix and McCarthy, two guys that fell that they just fell into the right systems, and I don't know how I'm trying to word this right now, but those two guys, there's no reason they should not succeed. Jaden Daniels, we'll see. He's obviously an athlete. I mean, anytime you get an athlete like that, there's ways to scheme up for him and let him make plays, let him use his athleticism. Here goes some quarterbacks now. We got Lawrence, Cousins, Stafford still available. Let's see, I got a whole round and 4 picks till I pick again. So a lot of these guys may fall off. I did say earlier, I'm not all out on Deshaun Watson. Here's my thing with Deshaun Watson. Everybody says he's a bottom-end quarterback now. He's not that great. We have seen what Deshaun Watson can do when he's healthy and when he's not distracted with off-the-field issues. We've seen it. He's proven. A lot of these other guys, they aren't. Like, I would take Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield. Mayfield had a career year last year, and that still wasn't even, I would say it was about 75% maybe. This is just shooting blank numbers. I haven't looked at the stats on these two guys right now, but I would say Baker Mayfield had about 3/4 of the season of the quality season that Deshaun Watson had in 2020, and that was Baker Mayfield's best year ever. So if Deshaun Watson can get back to that, could be a league winner based on where he's being drafted. I mean, look right here. His ADP is 142. We're in the 11th round. Deshaun Watson's still there. 4 years ago, guys, Deshaun Watson wasn't making it out of the first round. And look at it. Look at his. Of course, it doesn't even have it in here. He's under 30. I don't know his exact age. I thought it would show it on here, but it doesn't. All I'm saying he's under 30 years old, and he's a proven passing champion. He was literally the NFL's passing champion, and he's here in the 11th round, about to be the 12th round. So he's a guy I think could be a steal in late rounds. Aaron Rodgers, another one coming off injury, but like I said, it's not like he's a receiver coming off injury. That Achilles tear. Yes, he's a quarterback. I believe it was his plant leg, so that might have some effect on him. Here we go. We are back on the board. I just want to check all real quick and see where we're at over here in terms of the entire draft. Okay, yes, we are going to go with Deshaun Watson here in this pick. So I don't want to get too carried away talking because I am up again here soon. But let's take a actually let me pick here. I don't want to miss it, and then we will talk the overall roster so far. Now let's look at the top guys here in all, counting for all positions. We got Freiermuth, Jerome Ford. I'm big on Jerome Ford. Chubb, there's rumor out there that he might not be back till October or November. So Ford is going to be the guy week 1. And if he has another good season, oh, there he goes. So let's just stop talking about him. A.D. Mitchell, I love that dude, but that's a stacked receiver room over there. Jerry Jeudy could have a bounce-back year. Here's a guy right here that I love. I think Kendre Miller, I made a video on it the other day on my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. My prediction, Kendre Miller will be the Saints' leading rusher this year. So let's look at the team over here. We got Jalen Hurts. We got Saquon Barkley. We got James Conner, Garrett Wilson, Cooper, Keenan Allen, Trey McBride, and Stevenson. That's the starters right now. But again, remember, this is a best ball draft. Hurts. Let's go over Hurts. Does he give us dual threat ability? Yes, he has a ton of rushing upside. Does he throw well? Yes, Hurts usually lights up the stats. Is he good in clutch situations? Maybe not. I mean, maybe he's not the best quarterback as far as winning games and being an NFL quarterback, but as far as fantasy goes, yeah, Hurts is a great pick. Saquon Barkley. Is he a top-tier running back? 100% yes. Is he always available? 100% no. So that one, I like Saquon, obviously, but the risk there is kind of concerning. James Conner, another one. Hurt a lot. You can kind of say that about most running backs as we go down this, but these two guys have proven to be hurt a lot. Conner is the guy still in Arizona next year. I don't know if he will be. Let's just double check up here where we're at. Okay. Garrett Wilson, number 1 dude, top 5 receiver in the league. That's a great pick right there. Amari Cooper, number 1 guy in Cleveland. If Deshaun Watson's Deshaun Watson from 2020, he's going to absolutely go off. Keenan Allen, still got it. Still a good receiver. The question mark there is we don't know who's going to get all those targets in Chicago. It's a huge question mark. Trey McBride, he's one of my top-tier tight ends. He is I'd say top 5 tight end in the league. I don't think he's top 3 yet. I mean, you got Kelsey, you got Laporta, you got Kittle, you got Hawkinson, you got McBride. Those are your big name guys. If I left one of your favorite players out, I'm sorry, but those are the guys. Come on, scroll down. There we go. Now, Stevenson, number 1 running back in New England, so he's going to get the touches. He's going to get the opportunities. I don't think he's an exceptional talent as far as running backs go. Yes, he's a good running back. Don't get me wrong. But I just don't think he's a Saquon Barkley type, a Bijan Robinson type, Jahmyr Gibbs, any of those big-name guys. But he's solid. Brian Thomas Jr., I believe he will be the number 1 receiver in Jacksonville this year. He has all the ability in the world. I was big on him before the draft. Then he went to Jacksonville, and they're trying to fill that role that Calvin Ridley played. Perfect pick for them. T.J. Hawkinson. Yes, he had the big injury last year. He's supposed to be on schedule to play week 1. We'll see how that goes. If he's playing, we all know what T.J. Hawkinson can do. Deshaun Watson, I'm banking on the fact that he gets back to form. He's probably not going to get back to that 2020 Deshaun Watson. Let's be realistic. He's not going to lead the league in passing, but I do think he will get back on track and be a good quarterback this year. Kendre Miller, I'm back on the clock here. We got Taysom Hill, Marshawn Lloyd, Thielen, Xavier Legette. I'm going right there. He's another guy I believe is going to step in and be the number 1 target. Thielen's getting older. I passed on Thielen to get Legette. I do think Xavier Legette is a stud. I made a video on him pre-draft talking about how he's somebody that you need to target. All right, we are back on the clock now. Now we're just kind of we have the positions filled, right? Now we're taking just best player available. Here's another one, guys. If you don't know who this is, you need to look him up. Kamani Vidal. He's in Jim Harbaugh's system. Okay. Sorry, what am I trying to say? The Chargers went out and got J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is more injury prone than Saquon Barkley has ever been. Dobbins just cannot get through a season. Poor guy. I mean, I feel for him. It's like Caden Stearns of the Broncos, this stud safety. He'd probably be a Pro Bowl or All-Pro, but he cannot stay on the field. J.K. Dobbins is that way. Kamani Vidal is a guy that could absolutely be a league winner for you. You heard that right. He could be a league winner for you. If Dobbins is not playing, then Vidal will get more playing time, and all he needs is a sliver of playing time, and he's going to show everybody what he can do. Look up his highlights, guys. The kid's just a little bowling ball. Kind of reminds me of Austin Eckler slightly. Who he really reminds me of, and this is going to be kind of a cliche, I guess you could say, comparison based on who their coach is, but Blake Corum. I mean, the numbers, similar. The size is very, very similar. Vidal can absolutely pop off this year. Troy Franklin here, I just as I see him in the middle of the screen, I want to talk about him. He is a guy, oh, there he goes, actually. He just got drafted. He is a guy that everybody around this time of the draft needs to keep in mind. Courtland Sutton will not be a Denver Bronco at the start of the season. Bold prediction, but Sutton wants out. His agent wants him out. He's not happy with his contract. Sean Payton's trying to build a young team, build his culture, and he doesn't want cancerous players in the locker room. Not saying Courtland Sutton is a cancerous player as far as his attitude goes, but if he as far as his ability to be a good teammate, he's a very humble individual. I love Courtland Sutton, but if he's not happy with his contract situation and he's holding out and the Broncos are taking money from him because of that holdout, it's gonna create a little bit of turmoil, and anything like that can kill a locker room, especially when you're trying to go young and the young guys are looking up to the older guys. So, Courtland Sutton will not be a Denver Bronco. He will request a trade here soon, and somebody that has had interest in Courtland Sutton in the past is going to get antsy, and they're going to offer something more than what they already have. And they're going to want to get him before they start the start of the NFL season. So, with that being said, Troy Franklin then would step into a bigger role. They'll still have Tim Patrick, also two season-ending injuries in a row. He had the ACL 2 years ago. He had the Achilles last year, both in training camp. Can't rely on him. We are back, not on the clock. What was that notification? Oh, hold up, guys. I'm going to have to plug in my phone here as it's about to die. I don't want my camera to die on you guys. So yeah, Tim Patrick, he's a great player, right? He's had a couple great years, but he just can't stay healthy. And then you have Marvin Mims, who I think was completely underused last year, and then Troy Franklin. So it'll be Patrick, Mims, and Franklin if Sutton does in fact get traded, which I think he will. So we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more slots to fill. There's Mims right there. Ben Sinnott, however you want to say his last name. I've heard it pronounced all the different ways. I believe it's actually Ben Sinnott per his Instagram page, but I don't know. I like him a lot, especially in Washington. Oh, I'm actually on the clock. Jesus, I'm glad I saw that. I was about to say, if he's there when I pick, I'm taking him. Glad he is. Now, the next guy I'm going to go with, I'm going to scroll down here. I'm not actually going to draft this guy right now, but I want to talk about him. Malachi Corley. One of my favorite players going into the draft. Now, the only reason I'm not going to go with him right now is because I have Garrett Wilson. I don't want two receivers on the same team. I think that's a waste of potential points. But Malachi Corley is a dog, man. Watch his highlights, he is... Yes, he's been compared to Deebo Samuel, but I completely agree with that comparison. Now I'm back up on the clock. We got a lot of guys here to pick from. Tracy's a good one down here. Roshan Johnson, you heard me talk about him. This one's a tough one, guys. When you get down to these later rounds, the Bo Nix just sitting there staring me in the face. I'm going to take him. Like I said, I don't think he's a top-tier talent, but I do want to get a third quarterback on the roster. And based on his system fit, I think Bo Nix could have a decent fantasy season. He's not going to have a great, blow-up top 5 fantasy year, but Bo Nix is efficient. He will lead that offense down the field, and the more times you get down the field, the more opportunities you have to score. And whether it's screens, like he did in college, 30% of his passes were at or behind the line of scrimmage, a lot of screens, or just throwing it on normal drop back routes or drop back pass plays. Bo Nix will have a lot of opportunity to get the ball in the end zone. So I'm taking him for the touchdown upside, the system fit upside. Down here, guys, in these late rounds, we're just looking for those sleepers that are going to pop. Pierce is still out there. That's one. He had a great rookie year. Down year last year, great rookie year. He's not going to be as good as that rookie year, especially with Joe Mixon there. But he's still not a bad running back. Like I said here, Tyrone Tracy Jr., he could step in and end up being the guy there. Devin Singletary is there. He's not like a, oh my gosh, you have to have him type of guy. So there's a chance that Tracy steps in there and actually plays a lot, like significant snaps and gets significant touches. Just looking at his little chart here. Where are we at? What am I trying to do? I was going to show you guys. They don't have... Sorry, I thought they were going to have his projected fantasy points. They do not. That's what I was going to show you. Oh, there's Johnny Smith, Arthur Smith's favorite player. Keaton Mitchell, he's another one. Obviously, they got Derrick Henry. They're going to feed him a lot. Keaton Mitchell had the injury at the end of the year last year, so who knows if he'll be ready to go beginning of the season. But he does have... I mean, the dude can fly, and he's not terrible out of the backfield in the passing game. So he could step in and get some points and take a little bit out of Derrick Henry's role. Russell Wilson, I'm staying away from him. Who else we got down here that could be... Here we go. Here's a player that I really like. Javon Baker. Another guy I liked going into the draft. I didn't really know where he was going to end up because nobody knew about him. Nobody was talking about him. He was one of my favorite receivers going into the draft. I did a lot of film breakdown on Javon Baker. His yards per route run, he was top. I got to look at this chart again. I believe he was top 5 in yards per route run last year in the entire NCAA. Yards per route run is probably the most important stat that translates to fantasy success. So I was big on Javon Baker. I'm actually going to start him so I don't forget. So I don't forget to look at him when I get back on the clock. Here's one thing with Javon Baker is he's not like a full complete route tree type of guy. A lot of his balls were deep balls, and he's not a burner. He runs a 4.5, so he's not just blowing by guys. But the thing I love about Javon Baker is his deep ball technique. He knows how to hold the numbers and give his quarterback the box. He knows how to time out, when to break off from the DB, when to initiate the contact. He shows late hands, which is huge on deep balls. That's why Rome Odunze is so good on the deep ball. Those late hands, he's not telegraphing when he's going to catch the ball. Little things like that, guys, that little technique detail, that translates to the NFL. So here we go. We're back up on the clock. The Mims pick up there, that's one I really like as well. But Mims and Javon, both guys that I like to see. You know what? I'm going to go with Mims first. And this isn't guys I'd be taking early. We're down here in round 16 or round 17, about to be round 18. Take these guys around these late rounds, guys. They could be big-time fantasy contributors. Big time. If Mims is utilized like he should be, he could be a guy that goes out and catches 8-9 touchdowns. Maybe not double digits. Javon Baker is a guy that could step in. I'm going to draft him real quick before I get too loose-lipped. Baker's a guy that can step in and be a number 2 right away, number 1 potentially. I mean, who do they have in New England? Let's think about this. They got KJ Osborne, they got Douglas, they got Polk, and they got Baker. Those are their top guys. So KJ Osborne's not somebody to gawk over. He's not a guy that we're drafting early rounds. He's not a guy that I don't think the Patriots even want to be their number 1. You got Douglas. DeMario's not a bad receiver. He had a decent year last year. Then you got Javon Baker and Jalen Polk, the 2 rookies. They drafted those guys to be the guys. They're in a rebuild too. They're in a young situation. They obviously drafted Drake May. They want to build around him and have people grow with him. Javon Baker has a chance to be a wide receiver too, in all honesty. And I just drafted him in the 18th round. Those are the kind of value picks we're looking for here late. If you can find those guys like a Javon Baker and he goes out and puts up wide receiver 2 numbers, that's a steal this late. Just because I noticed it right here, Braylon Allen, I wanted to talk about him. When he got drafted by the Jets, I was sad. I don't know how else to call it. I thought Braylon Allen he does have incredible potential. The dude's only 19 years old. But I believe he'll be 20 by the start of the season, if I remember right. But Braylon Allen has all the talent in the world, and he's going to go and kind of rot behind Breece Hall. I don't know what the split's going to be like there, but how do you keep the ball out of Breece Hall's hands? I can't see them cutting into Breece's touches to give Braylon Allen more. We'll see what they do, but I really wanted Braylon Allen to go somewhere like Dallas where he could maybe be the feature back right away. Obviously, that did not happen. Who else we got? Garendo. I think he's a really good running back, and a lot of other teams, not any other, but a lot of other teams, he would get more of an opportunity. But you know what the Niners do. They're going to force feed McCaffrey. Sorry, I was reading these names and I started over my words. Christian McCaffrey is going to get the ball a lot. Penix Jr., best passer in the draft, hands down. Can't deny his talent. I saw him live at the Sugar Bowl, and my goodness, can that guy ball. Falcons, incredible pick by the Falcons. It sucks that he's not going to get to play, but now they have a guy that can chill behind Cousins. If Cousins goes down, he can take over. They're set at quarterback. That quarterback room in Atlanta might be the best overall quarterback room in the league. Not saying Cousins is the best quarterback in the league, but I mean, if you think about if a starter goes down, who their backup is, Penix is, in my opinion, the best backup quarterback in the NFL. Yes, we have not seen him play, but just based on his talent, his arm strength, most importantly, his arm accuracy, his pocket movement, his ability to evade the pressure, stay in the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, not looking for checkdowns right away as soon as he gets pressure. He's keeping his eyes downfield, hitting intermediate throws, hitting deep throws. Yes, checking it down when he needs to, but placing the ball where he needs to place it, even if it's late and his guy's covered up. You saw that in that Sugar Bowl game against Texas. Texas had great coverage, incredible coverage. They were locking dudes up, and Penix was putting it where he had to so the defense couldn't get to it. He was pressured 16 times in that game. He was sacked 0. And a lot of that was on him, being able to evade the pressure and be elusive back there in the pocket. More guys down here. Brendan Rice, another one that could be a sleeper. I don't think he's an incredible talent, but the Chargers, outside of Ladd McConkey, don't have much. I'm not a big fan of Palmer. Good receiver, not great. Brendan Rice could do something. We're back on the clock here. Just kind of looking down here. There's KJ Osborne, like I was talking about him earlier. Not a lot to pick from at this point in the draft, guys. We're going to scroll up here. Slayton, I mean, it's New York. They got Malik Neighbors. They got Jalen Hyatt. I'm actually going to go with Michael Mayer here. Yes, they drafted Brock Bowers, but they drafted Mayer in the first round last year. I think, I'm not the Raiders offensive coordinator, right? But if they're smart, they're going to be in a lot of 12 personnel. They should be in a lot of 12 personnel. Why wouldn't you utilize those guys? The Raiders don't have great receivers. Not talking about Devontae Adams. Obviously, we all know Devontae Adams is great, even if he's getting old. But outside of him, I mean, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, those guys aren't anything special. They're good, solid receivers, but nothing special. You got 2 tight ends like that. Stick in 12 personnel, run the football, and throw off of it. And then next, I'm going to go with Jalen McMillan here. I think he could be a solid number 3 as a rookie down there in Tampa Bay. So I'm going to take him and see what he can do for us. I mean, like I said, guys, this is late round flyers. You never know what you're going to get down here. We're just trying to take guys that have high upside, high potential, that can step in and maybe produce for us here at the back of the fantasy draft. But getting back to the Mayer pick, Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers, those 2 guys, you have them. Why not stick in 12 personnel, have both of them on the field at the same time, give defenses something to think about. I mean, you got Tay Adams on the outside, right? He's going to attract attention. He may even attract a bracket. They may roll the coverage towards Tay Adams. They can do a lot of different things. They'll scheme it up where they're quarter, half, where the quarters are over Tay Adams, and you got safety playing half on the backside of the field. Cover 6, cover 9 are big against big time receivers. When you're trying to scheme for them, they could run some zone blitzes away from it. But what are they going to do with Tay? Are they going to roll the coverage to him? Are they going to man him up? Are they going to double team him? Depends on who they're playing. If it's the Broncos, they're probably just going to put Surtain on an island and let him do his thing. That's a great battle. We've seen Tay Adams win that. We've seen Surtain win that. But when he attracts that much attention, now you put Bowers and Mayer in there, run 12 personnel. Your linebackers aren't. I mean, if you have one linebacker that can hang with one of those guys, you're lucky. But to have 2 linebackers to try to hang with both of them, it's not good for defenses. I mean, those guys are talented young tight ends that run good routes. They catch the ball well, especially Bowers in the passing game. Mayer's a great receiving tight end, don't get me wrong, but Bowers is exceptional. So now we got Tay Adams and Bowers taking attention. Now who's on Michael Mayer on the other side? Or are they gonna rotate him over and play both on the same side out of 12 personnel? There's just so many options you can do with 2 great tight ends like that. Look what the Patriots did with Gronk and Hernandez. That was a lethal offense. All right, so now we're done here. We can view the draft results here now. Once you leave, we're going to stay. We're going to look at my team here. Can I just go to my team? There we go. So we got Garrett Wilson, Saquon Barkley. You guys can read it on down here. I do like the first pick a lot. I wish I could have gotten one of these 3 guys right here. That would have been great if I was just up a little bit more. Garrett Wilson's a great pick in the first round, though. Moving on to the second round, I wanted Taylor. He went right before me, so I stuck with Barkley. Derrick Henry, I think, was a decent pick for like maybe one more year. Like I said, you never know with those running backs. Are they going to flop? You just don't know when that's going to happen. Anyways, guys, this is the team. I'm satisfied with it. We will see what we win come fall. I think we got a lot of guys that the team is deep. A lot of young guys, though. The one thing I don't like is let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got 7 rookies. Not sure about if I like that or not. But nonetheless, I do like the team. Let's take a look at some of these other teams here. Gosh dang, my mouse. This team's looking pretty good right here. I do like this guy's team. CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Travis Etienne in the 3rd round. That's a value pick right there. Joe Mixon in the 4th round. Another good value pick right there. Dak in the 5th. Terry McLaurin, like I said, he's a double-digit guy. Calvin Ridley. This guy's got a solid team right here. I'll have to watch out for Lee Henry over here. I don't know if he was on auto pick or if he picked himself, but solid team. So, guys, that's our mock draft, or not our mock draft, our best ball draft for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Enjoyed the insight I'm giving you guys as we're going through this draft. You obviously know the big names. Hopefully you learned a little something about some of these lesser-known names down here at the back of the draft. Like I said, Leggett, he's a well-known name now. Before the draft, I was big on him. Did a video on him. Kamani Vidal did a video on him before, right after the draft. I really like that guy. Another one, Javon Baker, huge on him. I did a video on him before the draft as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like the channel, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, guys. I'm putting out fantasy football content, putting out sports picks. I do player prop videos almost nightly, if not nightly, every other night or every couple nights. The only reason I won't do a video is if I just don't have the time. I have a full-time job as well as I'm a football coach. I coach wide receivers. Also have a family, wife and 2 kids. So I am a very busy guy. Sometimes I don't get the player prop videos out every single night. But if you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you get all my videos. Share this with your buddies. Be a part of this Sports Stage community. We are going to win in fantasy this year. We're going to win our bets. We've been hot winning the bets lately. The month of May, we were up. Don't quote me on this. I'd have to look at the chart again. I believe we were up 27 units. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time.